recording the people speaking. So if you're speaking, you're not going to be showing up in the after video here. But let me tell you a little bit about the reason why prospecting like a pro has been kind of a passion of mine. I owned my own business for a number of years, and I decided I was tired of being in retail, and this is kind of an irony, buying things in advance, clothing in advance, shoes in advance, and then watching them depreciate very quickly. And I decided I'm going to do something totally different. At the time, I was with Dr. Lee at PLU working on my MBA. And I went to work for one of the organizations I was most passionate about, National Federation of Independent Business. And so my job was to go out and be the kind of union organizer, if you will, of small businesses. And I had the chance to speak with thousands of businesses over the course of 3 years. I put 30,000 miles a year on my car going out and finding businesses. But every week I would get this bigger than a shoebox size file of all these business contacts. And they'd come to my house and I'd go into my garage and it looked like a library of cards. So Sunday night, I'd sit down with these 3x5 cards and organize them by the address and got out the old Metzger map and put them exactly where they needed to be. And then I'd tie them up and put them in my car, and off I'd go on Monday. And by Monday afternoon, the darn box would be tipped over. The file cards that I have sorted out would be kind of like all strewn on the bottom of my car. And I'm trying to figure out where I'm supposed to go next. The other thing was, it just seemed like people were selling us names. It didn't matter. The more names you sell, the more money that the company selling the names would make, right? And I'm going, well, wait a moment, that's kind of wasteful. Not only that, it's wasteful of my time. There's got to be a better way of doing this. And so I went to work for a bank, and we went out and we bought leads. We subscribed to Dun & Bradstreet, and it cost us $900 a year to get these kind of lists. And then I was figuring out, okay, there's only certain businesses I really need to spend my time with. All right, so, and that comes back to Dr. Lee and at that time we were talking about data mining and how can you be more effective with your time. So fast forward another 5 years, and this was a life-changing event, and it happened at a chamber luncheon. Actually, it was the after party at a chamber luncheon. If you've never had the experience of having an after party at a luncheon, you're missing out. And it was probably the most fruitful 10 minutes of my life. I got together with a bunch of librarians. They did the presentation, and there's nothing more exciting than listening to librarians at a luncheon in the middle of the day. And they shared with me about these online resources, and it's like, oh, that's pretty cool. So I checked it out, and that's what we're going to be focused on today is Reference USA. It's a service that is put out by a company that's been acquired a couple times. It's Info USA. If you have a business, you undoubtedly have received catalogs in the mail saying, hey, subscribe to us. And you'll spend $1,000, $1,200 a year to subscribe to it. But what the secret is that it's free from the library, that same information. I'm going to show you how to do that. But if you think, okay, that's great, and it's the magical pill that's going to fix everything, I'm going to kind of douse some water on it. I've had people try to emulate what I've done, and they've failed at it. You have to do 3 things in order for it to work. And we're going to talk about that today. First of all, is you have to have this idea of what your ideal customer is. And so many times I hear from people, it's like, well, everybody's my customer. It's like, no, no, no. So let me give you an example. Say you run a candy shop and you're really popular. In fact, all the moms, all the parents are bringing their kids in to your candy shop, and you might have ice cream there too. So they come in and every kid is on a budget and they can spend $2 on candy. And by the time you get done, the first kid has decided they need to use your restroom. And then that means the second and the third kid will have to go after they come back. So they spend 45 minutes in your shop and they've spent maybe $8, maybe $10 in your shop. Well, is that the kind of customer that you want? Or do you want the grandparent that comes in and sees some fabulous displays and they spend $25 in your shop? My point being this, if I had my choice, I'd focus on the one that is in there for 15 minutes, spending $25 versus the person coming in, spending 45 minutes, and they leave $8 behind. So that's part of the very first strategy, is figuring out, if I had my ideal customer, what would they look like? Who would it really be? But the second part to that is, who is your most profitable customer? And so it's an exercise I've had other of my clients do. And it's like, okay, if you could break down and figure out, this subset of customers purchase this product I have, and this subset purchases this product. If you broke those out on your income statement, which one would be more profitable for you? Focus on the ones that are most profitable, and the others will, they might come along, but don't put your effort in it. And I relate it back to another bank I used to work for, and we used to do these blitzes. We'd go out and see as many businesses as possible. Well, what happened was we'd go out and we'd get stuck with a person that we didn't want to bank, and we were there for an hour, when all that we needed to do was to go out and find 10 people we could talk to for 5 minutes to find out whether they're hot or they're not, whether they're good or they're not. But we also did it not by the street, going up and down the street, but by the address and doing a walking or a driving list. Well, here's the bottom line. I was meeting with our bank executive, here at my office, and he was in town from Spokane. And I said, okay, Brian, what's your ROI on your program? And it's like, when you go out to find new business, and he said it's 295%. That's great. That's a great ROI. I calculated mine, it was 1,200%. Because it drove down the cost. We drove down the cost. We actually had better leads. And that's the amazing thing with Reference USA, is I get fewer returned mail pieces from Reference USA than lists whenever we bought the list. So rule number one, focus on your most profitable customers. Okay, rule number two is this, and it's know your demographics. And here's a rule of thumb. I'm going to show you the program, and you're going to walk through it with me. But the good news is Reference USA will only allow you to download 250 names. Okay, so what I do is I try to focus on about 150, 200 names. And then I go through, and there is some culling that you have to do. Some of them are existing businesses, but you go through and you figure out, okay, this is my geographic range. I want to keep everything within 5 miles, 7 miles, or maybe your business is such like Mike's, where your geographic range could be larger, but it gives you a chance to focus on more quality businesses. I'm also going to show you another cool feature. And again, it's all free. Do you want to focus on customers that are slow at paying or those that pay you fast? If you want fast paying customers, I'll show you how to figure that out and only focus on that. If you happen to be a subprime lender, I'll show you how to find those people too. So we'll do that second. So that's the second step of my secret sauce. And remember, this secret sauce has never been shared before until today. And it works. It truly works. Okay, here's the third piece. Raise your hand if you like to be sold things you don't want. Okay. You know, we as consumers, we don't want to be sold stuff. I mean, you go to a car lot, how many people enjoy going car shopping? It's horrible. I was like, okay, I know I'm gonna waste, once I figure out the car I want, I'm gonna waste the rest of my life. I mean, a day at the car dealership, dealing with all the other things. People want things that are value. So my third piece is we never talk about price. We always talk about what is it that is going to be in it for me. You know, for the parent that's out shopping and trying to find things for kids to do, part of it is they want an experience where they can keep their kids entertained. You're almost better off if you were running that candy shop of charging by the hour, and people would be willing to pay the $25 an hour or $30 an hour to keep them entertained. Or, you know, you put on a birthday party for $200 an hour. That kind of makes sense. But people want to find a reason to do business with you. And if you focus on that part, that's where your success is. And for us, I mean, that's how we relate to people is by connecting on that emotional piece. And I think that's the other piece that we really miss out on is, you know, whenever somebody's buying something, they're buying on emotion. And when we're in the financial services sector, there isn't a lot of emotion other than, hey, I can save you $200 a month. And for some people, it's like, wow, okay, that's cool. It's also kind of one of those things that if you're selling on price and you're the cheapest provider, they're only going to be there as long as there isn't somebody else that's a lower cost provider, if you will. And so then you have this race to the bottom. I try to avoid that as much as possible. It's back to what is in it for me. And, you know, bankers, we've kind of done a disservice to ourselves because we promoted free banking. And everybody's got this concept of free banking. And I've always said that, you know, if somebody gets more out of their banking, would they be willing to give up 2 or 3 cups of Starbucks a month to bank with me? And I'd like to think that at some point we can get to that where people see a value in saying, okay, I'm going to give you $20. I give my accountant $100 because I get some value back. But I always think, you know, if I'm in any other business, it's like, what kind of value can I give to my clients that somebody else doesn't give? So those are the 3 rules. The first one is focusing on your profitable business. Secondly is knowing your geographic reach is what are the types of characteristics that you want to have and that you have in your current customers. We can emulate that. And then third is what value are you going to bring that nobody else can provide your clients? So how does that sound? Okay, we're gonna dive into this. If you have any questions, use the chat function or raise your hand, because now it's time to put things in overdrive. As I mentioned, we'll be using today the King County Library website. If you happen to be outside of King County, Pierce County, Thurston County, most library systems have this available. So give me just a moment. This is always the part where I have it somewhere all ready to go, and then I try to find it and it's not where I think it is. Okay, this one is definitely not it. A moment here. Give me a moment. I will find what I'm looking for. By the way, if you're wondering if I'm seeming like I'm a little bit not totally organized, today is my my annual audit, and it's always a surprise. I never know when it's going to happen, and today it was certainly a surprise. It's like, okay, we're not going to change that. All right, so I'm sharing my screen, and if you go to King County Library, let me just start there. I'm gonna open up another window here, and this is where the technology. I'm always looking to best it. Okay, let me go backwards. I'll do that, so you can see exactly how I get into this. Okay, we're almost there. So you land.
Rob, you're showing us your status window as opposed to your web browser.
Really?
Thanks, Earl.
So on it, do you see data, Axel?
Nope, we see the wrong screen. You're sharing your Windows settings screen.
Okay, I just got rid of that one. Let me see. Let me really get rid of it now. Is that better?
It's good.
Now there's nothing.
Nope.
Now you're not sure.
Now there's nothing. Okay. All right, here we go. Does that look better?
Winner.
Okay, all right. Let me back up one more here. Oh, goodness. Okay, I'm gonna bludgeon the person who came up with this thing called Microsoft Teams. It doesn't ever let me turn it off, and it's, hopefully you're not seeing all my work messages. Okay, so let me do this. KCLS, bear with me for a moment. Okay. Okay, so I had all this queued up. One moment.
I'm just going to drop in and say, I just happen to have spent an hour and a half yesterday teaching end users about the King County Library System online resources.
Yeah.
All the genealogy stuff, the Linda training, the language training. And it's really funny that this is like the one corner I didn't look in.
Well, now you,
yeah.
Here you go. Here you go, Bridget. So when you get into King County Library, you want to look for businesses and fundraising is the resource. And since I've got this queued up, I've got this, let me see if I can move this bar. It keeps getting in the way. There we go. Okay, that works better. Okay, so let's peruse here. It's not letting me do that either. Okay, let me open up a new window.
No.
It doesn't do that either. Okay, well, you're going to have to take me at my word. We'll get into the online resources at King County Library. And then from there, let me move this bar up here. Okay. From there, you'll end up at Reference USA, and they've renamed it a second time in the last year. It's now Data Axle. And you can see that there's available databases here. And from the left side, the one that I'm most familiar with is called US Businesses. And in their database, there are 59 million businesses. Now, according to the SBA, it's more like about 30 million. So it is a comprehensive list. However, I can vouch for the fact that these are pretty darn good leads. The second one, and I know we've got one realtor that is on, and I'm going to throw this idea out. If you happen to have a business where you're looking for people that have just moved into the community, it's called US New Movers and Homeowners. And that's where we're actually going to start out. We're going to start out with the consumer side. So if you happen to be B2C, business to consumer, this would be a great place to start, especially people who are new to the area. So if you're a real estate agent, it may be, hey, I'm welcome to our community. We can focus on just the people who are renters too. And I'll show you that in a moment. Or if you're a financial planner, new movers might be a good place to start. Or if you happen to have a fro-yo shop, new movers, or a retail shop to introduce people to your business. So let's start there. Bridget, could you share with us a little bit about your business while I pull this up?
Sure. My company name kind of says it all, gentletechhelp.com. I assist and train people in their software and their devices, their amazing supercomputers in their pockets. I specialize in working with seniors, with retired folks, but not exclusively, but I think that's what we will work with today here.
Okay.
And I have a nice little spreadsheet where I've said my people are this, and this. So
tell me a little bit about age-wise, income-wise, the people you're helping out, and again, most profitable for your time.
Well, I'll tell you, there's kind of two ways to look at it. One would be, I think the most profitable way to use my time would be only to focus on lawyers, estate lawyers, family lawyers, and financial planners, and get me to be a tool when they're working with their clients. But that's one way, but I find that's actually really challenging to break through all the noise for them, and to try and get time to talk to a lawyer. Not really. So let's just go with the end users for this moment. Okay. So my end users are 65, basically 60 plus, overwhelmingly female, overwhelmingly homeowners, whether they are still living in a house, condo, or like a retirement community like Providence Point. They have a modest degree of wealth, or they're wealthy or modestly wealthy. So a lot of my work is with iPhones. So folks who have iPhones, retired folks with iPhones generally have more disposable income and want to learn to use those devices. And it's both an educational piece and it's kind of a luxury, like getting your nails done or your hair done. You have somebody take care of these things. And I also, most profitable people are the ones who have me every month come help them on their online accounts, paying their bills, dealing with their doctor stuff, everything on a screen. So those, and they're so satisfying. So for me, ideally, I'd have all kinds of people who are like, I hate the technology. My husband died. I don't want to deal with this. Help me put it together. Those are my favorite people.
Okay, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to use that information in this new movers. And keep in mind, this is new movers. There's another one just for consumers as well, but it all works under the same premise. So one of the things that we could do is we can go down geography and then choose radius. And for simplicity, I'm going to use the bank's address here. And this is how this would work. We'd put in that and we'd put in 98045. And we're going to go out, let's say that, 25 miles, we'll start with 25 miles as a radius. Now you could also do this just by the county. You could do it by zip code. Those are all things that are easy to use, and they all work under kind of the same premise there. And so as we go down here, we're going to put in a couple parameters. One is estimated age, which you mentioned was 65. So let's take a look at that group, 65 plus. The other one that we might do is estimated income. And you could choose people. And, when you get over 65, you could have a lot of income from retirement savings, but it doesn't show up. And I know this because as a lender, so we may just skip that. Let's just do estimated age, new movers, and we're going to say what time frame that they moved in. And it's a great market. I mean, especially if you're new to here and you moved from Yakima, maybe. You don't know anybody, and it's like frustrating, right? And here's the other thing, Bridget. I was thinking about, your attorneys and financial planners.
Mm-hmm.
They could be huge assets for you on this basis. You're going to save them time because you're going to help their clients manage through mobile technology. We have the same challenge in banking, because if they could self-help, wouldn't that be great? Because it's hard to build people when you have to help them with the technology, and that's not what they're in the business for. If they could have you come along and help them, that's huge. So let's do the update count on it now, and let's see how many people we have. 208 people that have fallen into that bucket. They're 25 miles within your address, and I'm using the bank, so you can work from here, I guess. And then, okay, so let's take a look at the results. So we see that we're at 208. Remember, the limit is 250. And besides, for any one of us, it's really hard to manage more than a couple hundred contacts anyway. Let's take a look at the results for it.
Is it 250 total, or 250 a month, or 250 and then you pay, or?
No, it's 250 per report that you can pull.
Oh, per search. Okay.
Yeah, it's unlimited, the number of reports you can pull.
Mm-hmm.
And so here we are. This is, you can see Redmond comes up first. You may put in parameters and it's unwielding. It may come back with 500 names, and we'll do that in a moment, showing some of the business to business leads that we have. Now, I'm going to caution you, some of this is going to be limited in the fact you have a street address and not necessarily a mailing address. There won't be phone numbers because of the do not call registry. You have to go through that and make sure that you can call them. But in most cases, it's like if you could directly contact these people through a postcard, and you send out 200 postcards, how many postcards do you need people to respond to in order for you to make it worth your while? It might only be 2 or 3 people. I don't know. It depends on your business. But you can walk through here and you can see, all right, these are some, some good leads that I have. If I were a realtor and these are new homeowners that have moved into my area, if if I could go out and contact them, or if they're new renters that have moved into the area, knowing that they're trying it out, and then they're going to be in the market to buy. A lot of people do that. So let's take a look at a couple other ways that we can pull information. This time we're going to look just at the zip code. And this is going to be kind of mind-boggling. Kelly and Earl, you'll appreciate this. People that are moving into the area, and watch what happens with this record. Let's update the count. I've changed it now to just the zip code of 98045. New people that have moved into the area in the last 6 months. Now, that's not right. I know that's not right because I've done this before. Oh, I know why. Let me take this off of here. Not over 65. Last 6 months, 529 people, just to 98045. Here's the next interesting thing. And you know, this is something that could be powerful for the chamber is, out of those 529, how many of them are between the ages of 50 and 59? 500. Is that pretty amazing? And so I think that you could almost use this as a way to help your member businesses take a look and say, okay, wow, you know, there's a huge opportunity if that happens to be where my interest is as a business. If I were a financial planner, knowing that people are moving in here between the ages of 50 and 59, do you think retirement planning for those people is important? I do. If you put in all the other zip codes, you're going to see the same thing. I really like that. Okay, here's the next thing. Housing type. Out of these people that have moved in, 508, how many of them live in a single family home? And most of those we can assume are going to be homeowners as opposed to renters. And we kind of can extrapolate that from other census information that we have. 454. If I were a real estate agent and I focused on multifamily addresses, there's 53 people that moved in. Do you think those might be potential real estate customers for purchase deals? Maybe so.
That's pretty sweet, Rob.
And then, oh, by the way, we have other zip codes. Let's do that. Let's see. Okay, now we're going to broaden our horizon. And Dennis, you're not going to have to go very far for these folks. Let me put in this last one. Oh, it's not letting me. Okay, let me update the count. Okay. It's still saying there's something in it, but we can almost be certain that it's going to be many more. How about if I take this off? Let's try to put it in. There we go. I bet this will work better. So let's see how many contacts there are. I don't know why it does that. I had that happen earlier today. Let's get rid of these here.
Rob, you might be answering the question here shortly, but does it allow you to export the data?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it's really simple to do. Okay, it still seems to be stuck. You know why? Let's take these away. This is multifamily. This is multifamily. That's because there isn't a lot of multifamily units in the other zip codes, probably. There we go. We changed the age parameter, so that changed it as well.
Rob?
Yes.
I was going to comment also, if you only have 50 and up, if you've got multifamily, you've got multiple generations. So one of those has to be younger. So if it's like the kids that have bought the house and then mom and dad are moving in, you'd have to pick a lower age range in order to capture those.
Right. Let's just see. I bet we'll see some results on this. When it's kind of fun. No, it doesn't like that age range. Let me remove those.
What about the 40s?
Okay, so we've got 156. To Alex's point, how do you take this information once you can see it on the next screen here? How can you use it? Well, it's pretty darn easy. You go to the bottom here. First of all, you're going to click up here, and that's going to choose all of those on that page. We go over to the next page and do likewise. And so it's picking all those people. Now, one challenge on the consumer side is there could be duplicate addresses, two people living at the same address, husband and wife even, and they'll show up twice. So some of it you just manually have to go through and clean it up. For instance, as you can see there, no, those are actually neighbors in their same neighborhood there. So you can go through and select, and we'll do that on a few. Then we come down here, and there's a simple download button. And all those that you've selected, you download into an Excel spreadsheet. And you can do it directly into Excel. That's what I typically do. And you can have all the information. In this case, you get 11 data fields, and you download the records. It just gives it a kind of an anonymous titling to it. You open it up. Let's see if, hopefully, I haven't done this before. Can you see the Excel thing pop up? Okay, just go ahead. You want to open it? Yeah, I know it's safe.
We can't see the sheet though.
Oh, you know what? It's not letting me show the sheet. So, okay. So anyway, that's where you're at, and you can download it very easily.
Okay.
It's all very intuitive.
Could you stop sharing this and share the Excel spreadsheet? Will it let you, like if you do stop share on this one and choose the spreadsheet one?
That's kind of, let me see. Okay.
Now share screen and pick the Excel window.
See if I can open this up. Okay.
I've had this problem before too, and it all begins at the beginning when you select, instead of just selecting a specific screen, you can select all, and just be careful that you don't display anything that you don't want other people to see, and then you can go back and forth from whatever you want.
Jim nailed it. Yep.
Okay, let me see if this will work now.
You know, this is incredible because for me, I like targeting residential communities. So something like Timber Ridge shares the same zip code as everything in Issaquah, but using this piece, I could just go within, half a mile of wherever the community center is and be like, this is fantastic.
Exactly. So there you go. You can see all those folks that are looking for your help, Bridget.
Wow, fantastic.
Okay. Let me move on. I want to be respectful of everyone's time, and I've got so much to share. And I want to make sure that I show you a couple other things. Here we go. We'll get back into this part. All right, let's talk a little bit about business opportunities. We're going to go back. Let me see if I can do this to get back to the landing page. All right. The next thing that I want to focus on, and that is industry-specific target markets. And I think this works out well for what Mike wants to approach. Now, here's something really cool. And I'm not going to choose one of our businesses here, but you can target a specific business. If you have a customer that's slow pay, you may want to go in here and say, okay, put in their company name and find out a little more information. Why? Because there is credit quality in each one of the business files. And with the exception, professional businesses aren't ranked in there. But we'll take a look on a deeper dive when we do this. But for most businesses, and the way I build my list is I go to the advanced search. And we're going to do this with Mike's business. And Mike, could you tell me just one industry that you'd like to focus on?
Okay, so currently, if there is a one industry, let's focus on food trucks.
Okay, so give me just a moment. I'm gonna see if, does this show
And I'm
us?
sorry, I'm just doing something a little bit challenging. So
Okay, all right.
Lady Gaga, before Stefani was known as Lady Gaga, she was paired up with an equally successful pop star named
Okay, mobile food services. Okay, I'm getting some feedback from somebody. I don't know if Kelly can help identify and isolate that. That'll be awesome. Thank you. So in the banking world, we live by NAICE codes. So if you go into Google and put in food trucks NAICE codes, and you can do this for any business, it gives you the specific industry code. So in this case, it's 722330. So we're gonna pop over to here, and we're gonna put that in here, 722330, and hopefully it shows up. It does. So we're gonna choose all three of these. Wow, this is a great one because you could do truck wraps, right? And
I'm sorry, yes, that is correct.
And you've got probably some great examples you can show them, or you can build that around it. Okay, so here let's do the next thing is, let's choose King County, just to see what that looks like. So we come down here, select Washington, and then King, and there's actually you could pick multiple counties too, but King is like what, 59% of the state or some crazy number like that. Okay, so we just focused on food trucks, Washington, King County. Let's update the count. And this is the way I kind of meander through. That's not very many. That's 6. Let's see here. That doesn't make a lot of sense. So can we just let's just see what happens if we kind of broaden it to Washington State, because we're pretty central. Let's hit go.
Rob, what's the difference between search primary and search all if you've put in a number?
Oh, you know what? That is a very good point. That's why I have you on the call today, Alex. Okay, yeah, let's try that. Let's make sure, no, let's make sure those are all selected. Let's update the count. 16 is probably because I don't have this properly selected here. Let's see here. Update count. Okay, 32. I have a feeling that some people may have registered their businesses as restaurants, coffee shops. So it may be a little bit too narrow. What else could we do? Let's say we're gonna focus on restaurants. Okay, restaurants, you can be really specific. Food delivery. Let's update the count now and see what we get. Okay, Washington State, a lot of restaurants in Washington State. Probably 11,000 is too many to focus on. Let's go back and just do county only. Okay, select a state. We'll do Washington. I bet we're still going to get a lot of restaurants, but I'm going to show you one next step. And so hang on, this is worth being here for. Okay, let's remove this one. I think we're still picking up all of Washington. There we go, 4,500. All right. So Mike, do you want every restaurant? You want to spend your time contacting 4,500 restaurants in King County?
Oh, probably not. So we'll go with a smaller sales volume, I guess.
Okay, that's a good one. So let's find that sales volume. So
we're serving more of the smaller businesses rather than medium to large.
Okay. Okay, let's start with this. 1 million and under in sales. And I would say that the average successful business is in the restaurant business is probably going to be, you know, between that 250,000 and 750,000. So we've got a little bit of lap over on each side. So let's just update the count. 3,600. That's still a lot of businesses, right? Well, let's do one more step. And this kind of might blow your mind. Let's focus on the ones that pay their bills the best. All right, you kind of like that idea? Let's see what happens next.
I love that idea.
Okay, let's choose those with excellent credit ratings. Now, this may be a little bit wonky. You may miss some businesses. If they only pay cash and they're really good about paying cash, they may not have a credit rating, but let's put it in and see what happens. 20. Let's put in very good and excellent. And usually I use the two of these together. 1275. So then the next thing is, Mike, you may just want to focus on the ones that are closer to you, right? So let's go back to the radius thing, and we're going to change it from the county to the radius, and let's choose just those that are within our general area. And we're going to say, let's start out with 25 miles, and I'm going to use this address here for simplicity's sake. And if you'd like to open your account and work from here, you're welcome to. No, just kidding. Okay, let's see what the update. 433 businesses within 25 miles. Let's tighten it up. Let's say within 15 miles. 70 businesses. Do you think that's a workable list? It's a good place to start.
I think that's an excellent for a start.
So let's take a look at who shows up on that list. And remember, we put in credit quality. So these are the better credit quality customers for you. And so there you go. Okay, let's do a deeper dive because I showed you the consumer side. Let's take a look at what we can find out. And I'm going to pick one that I don't know. Coffee Ladro, they're pretty popular. They've been around for a while. And let's look at the information that you get. Now, keep in mind, this will all come in your Excel spreadsheet. So we know that they are in Issaquah. There's an address. Yes.
I just noticed on that list that there were people that were no longer in business.
That will happen. And especially in the restaurant business. I will tell you, there are some industries that are going to be a little more fluid than others. Overall, I find that these lists are better than what we've gotten when we purchase them from providers, including companies like Dun & Bradstreet. So here's some information that we have about the business. They have 12 employees at this location. They do about $736,000 a year. This was last updated this month. They've been in business for 15 or so years. Their credit rating is very good. So do you think that's valuable information to have? That's a good place to start. We'll go down the list here. Now, typically, you're going to find in the management directory a list of names of people that you want to talk to. How much easier is it when you walk into a business and say, hey, I'm here to see Mike, as opposed to who does your purchasing? Because you know that already before you walk in the door. I'll tell you another secret. When I worked for NFIB, they spent a week training us, and we would go out on cold calls. And they said, what you do is you walk in, you assume the person at the front desk is the owner. And that works especially well in medical offices because sometimes they're doing their work at their receptionist desk and they're gone. But just assume the person you're speaking to is the owner. And if they say, if you happen to not know who the owner is, or you assume that the person sitting at the desk is the owner and you know their name, all you do is you simply turn around and face away while they go and get that person. It's hard to speak to somebody when their back is turned to you. You're just expecting it. So anyway, just a little tip from my past experiences. All right, so there's one contact. Let's go back in here and take another look at one other one. I'm gonna pick somebody that I don't know because I get in trouble when I pick somebody that I do know. Gosh, these are all so close too. I have no idea who these people are. So now I can look at it here and I go down here. I can see that they have 10 employees. Their sales is typically 600,000 a year. Very good rating. Again, where does that information come from? You can subscribe to this service from Experian Business, but it's here. And this is a pretty good judge. And I would never say, hey, I looked it up on Reference USA and I see that you have a very good credit rating. But what it might do is if you go and talk to Fred and he says, yeah, go ahead and bill me. If you can see what their credit rating is, you may make a judgment based on that. Some people say, yeah, I'll pay you when you deliver. And if they don't have a great credit rating, I'd certainly get them to use a corporate credit card and pay for it and let the credit card people worry about the collecting, not you. So here he is, Fred. That's the person that you need to go talk to. Or if you send out a mailing, you send it out addressed to Fred at Chicago Pastrami. And that has a much more personal appeal to it. So again, I wanted to stress the three things you absolutely positively have to do. And that is first, focus on your most profitable customers. Secondly, figure out what those demographics are and be able to plug those in, and you just work with the numbers until you come up with the right number. You work with the radius, you work with your demographics, you work with, are you going to target the best customers? That's what I would do. But if I were doing something like helping people with repairing their credit, I'd choose the ones at the bottom of the barrel. And it works the same for businesses too. There's some that are struggling. Figure out whether you need to have cash up front or credit cards may help you get more business, or if they're worthy enough, if they've been in business for 20 years, you may want to work out some terms on that based on that. And then the third thing is, don't focus on price. Don't focus on this race to the bottom. Focus on what you can give them. And so some of you may be thinking, gosh, you know, if I'm a realtor and I'm going to go out and find every new person that has moved into the area, maybe I have something of value and I can go out and find some other partners that are willing to share the costs. And I'm going to be the welcome wagon because we don't have one here. And I'm going to talk to half a dozen retailers and I'm going to offer them this program of being able to reach out. And you're not going to tell them where you're going to get this list. This list comes from you and you got it because I shared it with you. Maybe you can have all your marketing costs subsidized by other partners helping you out. So those are some ideas, but I want to make sure that I give you an opportunity. If you have some ideas of your own, if you happen to be a nonprofit, for instance, like Clark Roberts, I can show you that as well. I do want to be respectful of our time. We're down at 12:51. But is there anyone that would like to chime in with any questions?
So Rob, this is Tad. I do have one question because I've used list brokers before and have done various searches on data, et cetera, in this way. Are you obligated to any use rights constraints through pulling them from Data Axle via the library?
I have not found one yet.
So it's a full use rights then, you know, once you extract these 250, you're free to do whatever you want to with them and are not obligated there's no limits to that.
There are none.
Okay.
The library subscribes to the program and it's in the library's interest to have people use it. And I really wonder how many people are aware that it's available.
Well, modern list brokers have a lot of controls and they have little trigger contacts in there that they use to know that you're using a list longer than you've rented it for and a bunch of other stuff like that. So that's the reason for the question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tad. Any other questions? Who's excited to use this and have this as an opportunity to grow your business?
Now I need to find some postcard, people making postcards and maybe little postcard magnets locally.
You know, Mike might be able to help out.
I think I might know somebody in Fall City.
Okay.
Good, keeping it local, yeah.
By the way, Mike owns RM Graphics in Fall City, so two of you might hook up with them. So if you're interested, Mike, would you mind putting your contact information in the chat box there down below? And so if anybody's interested in some help with the marketing piece, they can reach out to you. Alex, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Rob. We'll catch you later. This was really good information.
So I'm going to offer this up for everyone else that we didn't have a chance to walk through all this with. If you need help, reach out to me. It's really easy for us to use and I can show you, but it is so easy to walk through and create your list. But if you have any challenges or questions, please reach out to me. I do this because it's helped my business and I came up with this whole program on my own. So it's not proprietary to the bank. So anyway, thank you very much. And thanks, Earl. Earl and Kelly, before we close, do you have any words of wisdom or things that you'd like to share from Sno-Valley Chamber of Commerce?
I will say a couple things. Earl, do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
Oh, go ahead, Kelly.
Okay. I just want to tell everyone that tomorrow from 10 to 12, the public health department is going to be here. So if you know anybody that owns a restaurant, they're going to be giving out gloves, disinfectant, masks, and whole bunch of other stuff. So they will be here from 10 to 12. So if you know anybody, they can only be restaurant, bars, or anybody that handles food. That's the only thing that the criteria, but it's a huge thing. And I keep telling every single restaurant owner, come get it, because this may not be available again. So don't think that you have enough, just come get it. So if you know anybody that is in that category, and it's actually for anybody in the whole area, it's the quality anybody. So
Thanks,
this
Kelly.
is one of those good times when public health shows up, if you're a restaurateur.
mm-hmm. For sure. And Earl,
So real quick, my name is CJ, and I haven't been super engaged in this because I'm here playing daddy daycare today.
Okay.
And we had some stuff going on that I wasn't able to listen. Where can I find the recorded version of this?
We will have this on our website eventually. I will, Kelly's got your contact information, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
Awesome.
I'll make sure that you get a link to it afterwards.
Oh,
I have it
fantastic.
on my private YouTube channel.
Okay, great. I appreciate the time.
My pleasure.
so, and Earl, can you tell them
There
really
she
quick
is.
about our Zoom calls?
So
There's several people
for,
who are not on there.
for the Chamber of Commerce community, we host a weekly Zoom call every Wednesday, 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. The idea is, especially during times where there's lockdowns and a lot of fluidity with respect to restrictions on businesses, access to funding. One of the benefits that Kelly has been able to provide to chamber members is that we get a high percentage of our legislative team showing up to listen to the challenges and the stories in the Valley. So they advocate on our behalf, and they also are really good at sharing information with respect to sources for funding. Senator Mullet shows up probably once a month, Lisa Callan and or Bill Ramos at least 3 times a month, Mayor Larson all the time, Mayor McFarland when he can, and Kathy Lambert probably about 50% of the time. It's a remarkable contingent. We get between 30 and 40 members of the community who show up, and it's a chance weekly to invest an hour in learning about what's going on in the community and things that are of value to your business.
And Earl, the other thing that you do is you host a mastermind program too.
I do that as a complimentary value for our chamber members. I'm going to have to cap it. We're at 14. I think 16 is about as much as I can take in that group. The idea being the chamber wanted to provide value in terms of support, the exchange of ideas, and really encouragement to help businesses not only get through the pandemic restrictions, but to come out of this stronger than they were before they were going in. And I see Jim Osgood on the call giving a thumbs up. He's one of our charter members, and really value his contribution to the group. And hopefully, Jim, you've gotten a thing or two out of it as well.
Yes, that's an understatement. It's been a great program, and it's slowly growing, and it's a great opportunity not only to get help on your own business, but also to be able to provide help, to others, and at least make them think about it.
Absolutely.
About what they're doing. So, and Earl does a fabulous job of what would you call it? Moderating, coaching,
Facilitating. Yeah.
Facilitating. There you go.
Just capturing the genius that exists in the room and making sure that it gets shared.
Yeah, it's something I schedule for sure every week. So.
Yeah. Thanks, Jim.
All right. Well, thank you. That's a great way to close out today. And having the Sno-Valley Chamber of Commerce here in the same building is just, I'm just so thankful for Earl and Kelly's leadership and the impact they're making. And there's never been a year where it's been more needed, and they've been there every step of the way. And so as a chamber member, I know that every dollar that we give to the chamber is going to a great cause in helping to support our community. So thank you very much for that. Thank you all for joining. If you have any ideas of future programs or things that you'd like to see, let me know. And other than that, have a safe, healthy, and profitable rest of the week. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Love coming away with actionable information, you know.
That's
Great.
awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks so much,
Thanks very
Bridget.
much.
So nice to
Very
meet
cool.
you.
Thank you.
Nice to
Bye-bye.
meet you, Dennis.